Hello again, and so in this video I'm going to talk about the positives of living in Georgia, or just the positives of Georgia in general. So in the last video I talked about the cost of living here if you're planning on a move to Georgia, and you can see that video up here. I'll link it just here. But this time I'm going to talk about the positives of Georgia. And remember, we're talking about Georgia the country, not the US state. I'm going to read my notes here as well because I don't want to miss anything out. So I'm going to talk about accessibility, affordability, authenticity, geography, and safety. Okay, so those things. So let's start with the first one, accessibility. Coming to Georgia, you have the choice of Wizzair. They come from the UK or from many European cities, or Ryanair, also fly into Tbilisi and into Kutaisi. These are the main budget airlines which will come from the UK and from kind of Western Central Europe. If you're in Ukraine, you have the option of Yanair or SkyUp, and they're all reasonably priced. And this wasn't the case in the past. In the past, before these budget airlines, you didn't have much choice than to go with maybe Georgian Airlines or Air France or something, which was much more expensive. So accessibility is good. You can get here easily. Yeah, so that's the first thing. The visa. Now, many countries, and I'm not sure how many, and I'll write it here when I have a look, but you don't need a visa for many countries. Okay, you can stay for 1 year with no visa, which is amazing. There are not many countries in the world which will allow you to come and to stay for a year with no visa. And the good thing about this is if you want to stay for longer than a year, you go on the train to Armenia or to Azerbaijan or the bus, or whatever, or to Turkey or to Russia. You go into the country, you turn around, you walk back again into to Georgia, and you get a new stamp for another year. No questions asked. Okay. Now I don't know how long this is going to continue for because Georgia wants to join the EU. Maybe when they join the EU, maybe it will just be the default kind of 3 months, which EU countries usually have. But I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, it's an incredibly good, generous thing that the government do, allowing this 1 year visa. As I said, location. Okay, I mentioned these other countries. It is a great location, and you can easily go on day trips or weekend trips to Azerbaijan, Armenia, to Turkey, to Russia. Yeah. Okay, so going on to the second thing in my list was affordability. Now I'm not going to go through all the prices because I did make a video here. Yeah, and I'm going to link it again. But only to say that you can live in Georgia incredibly cheaply. You can rent an apartment for £200 or £300. You can use taxis anywhere in the city for £1 or £2. Buses are cheap. The metro is cheap. You know, 10 pence to use the metro in Tbilisi to go anywhere. That is very good value. It's an incredibly affordable country. Yeah, restaurants, cafes, they're also very reasonably priced. You can buy a coffee for £1. You can get a meal for two for, I don't know, £10, £15. Yeah. If you go in the lower end of the market, you can pay £5 and get a meal for two. You know, it just depends where you want to go, really. But these options are there. Here comes the wind again. The third thing I want to talk about here is authenticity. Now, what I mean by this is Georgians are very proud people. Yeah, they're proud of their culture. They're proud of sharing their culture with other people. So they like it when people come to Georgia. They can tell them about Georgia. They can say, oh, wine was invented in Georgia. We invented wine for the world. They're proud. They're very proud of their culture and their heritage. And the good thing is that kind of culture, that authenticity is there. You see it. Yeah. If you go to Spain, for example, you go to Malaga maybe, you see a beach, you see bars, you may never see the real Spanish culture. But in Georgia, you see that on the street. You see people doing their real jobs, and that's a really nice thing. You also see them walking down the street with these huge loaves of bread under their arms, like great big loaves of bread. I don't know what they're called. Is this the hachapuri loaves of bread? They have another name. I'll write the name of them down here in a second. But there, you see them walking down the street with these kind of very authentic Georgian bread, and I've never seen them anywhere else, so they must be a Georgian thing. Of course, Georgia is known for the food. Yeah. Speaking of bread, hachapuri, khinkali or hinkali. I didn't have it because I'm gluten and lactose free, but my wife had many kinkalis, many hachapuris. They look nice, they smell nice. It's authentic cuisine, and they're very well known for their food. You know, it's great. They're proud of it, and that's really cool. And as I said earlier, it's not overly commercialized, so you get to see the real country still. But you've got to come soon because that might change. I want to also talk about geography. And geography, Georgia is a beautiful country. There's no denying it. When we got off the plane in Kutaisi, and we took a bus into the center of Kutaisi, and then we took a bus to Batumi, and we were amazed by just mountains everywhere. I've never been to a country where there's just so many mountains. It was incredible. And Georgia, you can go to Batumi, yeah, a beach resort. The beautiful boulevard was amazing in Batumi. You've got weird kind of modern skyscrapers in Batumi. The Alphabet Tower, which has this kind of weird Georgian alphabet thing going around it. If you want maybe more infrastructure, then you can go to Tbilisi, where you've got bigger shopping malls, where you've got a metro, where you've got more people, you know, kind of more expats maybe, if that's what you want. You can go skiing in the mountains. There are two ski resorts, I think, in these mountain ranges. You can go hiking, rafting, you can do all these outdoor activities. So if that's what you're into, then Georgia's going to be a perfect country for you to come to, definitely. What else did I write on my list here? So architecture, the varied architecture. So as I say, in Batumi, you've got these kind of modern buildings. And then in Tbilisi, you've got this beautiful old town, which dates back many, many years. You've got monasteries, you've got forts, you've got long, hot summers. That was a good thing. As a British man, where we don't have summer, well, we have two seasons really, don't we? We have rain and rain with wind in Britain. Georgia has an incredibly long summer. It got warm maybe end of March, April time, and it was warm all the way through till like, I don't know, like November, I think. We were sat outside at one point. It was amazing. I remember we walked around in a t-shirt the beginning of November. So a very long, hot summer. In Tbilisi, it can get incredibly hot, up to 40 degrees some days. So make sure your flat has air conditioning because you're going to need it. Rain, there's not much rain in Tbilisi, I have to say. We maybe saw, I don't know, we were there for 8-9 months in Tbilisi. We probably saw about 10 days of rain in that whole time. Batumi is another story. Batumi is a very kind of tropical city, so they get these huge rains. Very, very tropical, like apocalyptic rain comes down. But they also have palm trees and beautiful botanical gardens, and so the landscape, the variation of landscape in Georgia is incredible, really incredible. Next thing I want to talk about is safety. We always felt safe when we walked down the street at night. I've never felt, you know, we never felt threatened. I'm not sure my wife would have gone out walking on her own because that's just silly anyway, but no matter where you are. But we never felt threatened by locals. We never felt that we were unsafe at any point, apart from when we crossed the road or when we got in a car. That was a different story, and I'll get to that in the negatives. But we never really felt unsafe. There were lots of police. They're quite Western style police. They've even got police actually in English written, so they've been kind of westernized and modernized, taken away from the old kind of Soviet style of policing. Tourists are rarely targeted. Yeah, petty crime maybe, but you know, people don't want to attack tourists because tourists bring in a lot of money to Georgia. You start attacking tourists, the tourists don't come. Yeah, your GDP goes down. Just avoid the areas of South Ossetia and Abkhazia because these are kind of disputed regions, let's say. And watch out for scams as well. So if something seems too good to be true, then it is. There are scams. You will be approached as well by many people trying to sell you boat trips and things as well. Those aren't scams, but you know, don't feel unsafe. It's just kind of a bit irritating sometimes. So that's the positives of Georgia. And there are many, many positives about Georgia. It's a beautiful country. If you get the opportunity to come here, then definitely come here. to visit, to stay for longer, to live. It's honestly an amazing place to come to. So if this video was useful for you, then please subscribe to my channel and give it a like. And if you have any questions, please write below and I will try to answer them. So, and I'll see you in the next video.